Good evening, Mr. Nkosi.
Good evening, Chief Justice.
If you like, you may take off the mask, sir, so that we can recognize you the next time we meet you. How are you, sir?
I'm fine, thanks, Chief Justice and the members of the judiciary.
I see that you have BUris, LLB, LLM, and you're currently busy with LLD degree.
Yes,
Is that right?
That's correct, Chief Justice.
Okay, what was your area of focus for your master's program?
It was constitutional law and human rights practice.
Okay, and your doctorate, even if you are still pursuing it, what is your focus there?
It's a continuation of human rights, but focusing on UNESCO and the rule of law.
Okay. Did you get to be admitted as an attorney, and if so, when?
I started practice.
When did you become, when were you admitted as an attorney? Is it 97 or before 97?
It was 1995.
Or 1995?
Yes.
So you've been an attorney for over 26 years, am I right?
That's correct, Chief Justice.
And you've also been a tutor, both at UNISA and Tshwane University. Is that right, a law tutor?
That's correct, Chief Justice.
You've acted as a judge?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, very briefly tell us how that has prepared you for the position you're now applying for, very briefly.
Since I started doing articles 1994, I've been, I had an opportunity to represent people in the magistrate court and the CCMA and other small, would I say, ordinary courts. Then, as soon as I got admitted, I was able to start representing clients in regional courts and other tribunals. And I was further nominated and appointed to start acting on behalf of state departments in statutory boards, various statutory boards. I may make an example, the Mpumalanga Liquor Board, the Transport Board, in various capacities, Cross-Border Road Transport Board, Transport Appeal Board as well as a deputy chairperson, and the Gaming Board. While I'm practicing as an attorney, I was able also to split my tasks to these different statutory boards. And I became also a consumer court presiding officer for a period of not less than 3 years, which prepared me to be able to understand and analyze the law. And I was again appointed in the General Public Service Bargaining Council as a commissioner, part-time commissioner, the CCMA as part-time commissioner, and Safety and Security Bargaining Council, and also the Road Freight Industry Bargaining Council, and other ordinary instructions from different clients where I was able to analyze evidence presented to me, and that made me to be able to feel that I am ready to take a position that can lead or preside over matters. And since 96, I became a commissioner of a small claims court, of which I'm still, even today, if there's any matter they can call me, I present myself to help pro bono for that matter because as a small claims commissioner, we don't get paid. For the past 15 years, I've been doing it.
Thank you very much. Colleagues, before the JP can come in, may I have the names of those who want to put questions to Mr. Nkosi?
Singh,
Lamola,
Schlemmer,
Muimang,
Honorable JP Wadley, over to you, sir.
Thank you, JP.
Thank you, Chief Justice. You're welcome. It was a pleasure to have you in court, I must say. I know you acted before in 2011. I think that was the year.
That's correct, JP.
Is that right? Yeah. Only problem I have is we've gone through all our archives and everything, and there isn't a judgment. I don't know. You must have handed down some judgments during that time.
Yes, it's true, I did.
Okay. We couldn't find it. Maybe you should let us have, just so that our archives can be corrected. All right. Thank you for that. And then we didn't hear from you, and I think the problem has been that you practice in Mpumalanga, if I'm correct, and coming to Johannesburg might be quite a problem, but as you know now, we have a high court there, and there will be a labor court situated there, and hopefully that it will run efficiently, and we'll have people wanting to do labor matters there. Because I raised that because I noticed that although you have a practice which must be an envy of any legal practitioner, I mean, you have the most diverse practice that I can think of, and you're involved in all things. My concern, of course, is that the labor matters don't seem to be taking precedence in your practice. And I raised that because, when you were shortlisted, I immediately phoned you and I told you, please come and act. Because I think it's very important that, especially with your CV, that you should come in and see how practice is and see if you're enjoying the labor work. And your first matter, which was supposed to be a long matter, got settled, sadly in the sense that to make an assessment of it. And then the issue came up because there wasn't any other trials. You were given lots of files to do directives. And the concern I had was this. Remember when we spoke, I told you there is no better court than the labor court when it comes to camaraderie. You can knock on any judge's door with anything and they will always assist. And most of all, if you feel you want to phone me to ask, feel free. That's one thing I always do. I answer my phone. You'll never find me not answering my phone unless I'm in a hearing. Okay, and doesn't matter what time. Now, the problem I had was when you were given these directives, you didn't, you spent most probably a lot of time on it. But I think you missed it as to what exactly you needed to do. And you didn't speak. So all I need you to do for the rest of the time you're in practice is feel free to knock on any door. All right. And we think you have the potential, but we're not sure. I'm not sure if now is the time to appoint you the labor court, at this time. But you definitely would feature as someone who we need to look at to appoint in the future. I've read your CV and I've read what you've done. It's most amazing, At the same time, we just need to spend some more time doing labor work. And doing CCMA work is great, but it's not the court. You need to appear in court and you need to practice in court. Those are my issues. I don't know if you want to comment on them. Feel free.
Thank you, JP. My humble view or submissions was that acting as a commissioner, the CCMA, or any parent in council is practicing the law, labor law, as is, depending on which side of the soccer field are you. Are you the goalkeeper or are you a striker? So I'm practicing labor law in different ways or from different stages. The law is the law. As to whether you defend or you preside, but you're practicing the same law. We interpret the same law. We make sure that everything is done in the proper way, because we are all players in the same field.
Thank you, Chief Justice. Nothing further from me.
Thank you very much, Judge President. Mr. Mkalibi?
No, Judge President, we don't have a question to ask for this candidate. I think the Chief Justice.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. Honorable Singh?
Thank you, Chief Justice. Good evening, Mr. Nkosi.
Good morning, sir.
Good evening. I'm trying to understand the information that you completed in section 9 of your application, which refers to if you have sat as an acting judge. Your answer is yes. And then I'm just going to read what you said. In which division were you appointed? You say North Gauteng High Court 2013. Then you say South Gauteng High Court 2011. Then you say Labour Court 2012. Then you say Limpopo High Court Division 2014. And then lastly, you say Mpumalanga High Court Division, different periods, 2015. Then you go on to 9.2 to say, please give the dates of your appointment. You say the dates as stated in paragraph 9.1 above are a disjointed stats of the last 8 years. Now, it's very difficult to work out how many terms, how many days, how many weeks have you acted, but I'll just come to the Labour Court only. You say 2012, I don't think it would have been for the whole year. How many weeks did you act in the Labour Court in 2012?
If I remember very well, Mr. Singh, it's 2012, it was just 2 terms.
And a term being how many days or weeks? Sorry, I don't know if it's different from the other courts.
6 weeks plus 6 weeks.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, because, saying, just giving us the years there was quite confusing. It was, to somebody else, you'd think you served for the whole year. But thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Singh.
Thank you,
Honorable
Chief
Minister. Thank you, Honorable Singh. Honorable Minister.
Thank you, CJ. I must mention that I know Mr. Ngobe very well. They were our seniors, CJ, in Mpumalanga when we started practice as candidate attorneys. They are the one who showed us the way, including in the Black Lawyers Association. My question, Mr. Ngobe, maybe is to take from where the JP took the question with regards to your nature of your practice and the CCMA. Maybe you could use this opportunity to tell the Commission the labor-related cases that you have handled that you think could be of benefit to this Commission, either as a practitioner or in the CCMA. What type of matters and briefly?
Thank you, Minister. I'll just put it in this way. As a practitioner, I've been receiving instructions on unfair dismissals, unfair labor practice, and some of them are dismissal based on operational requirements, and some legal advice. And that is when I'm in the office practicing as an attorney. Some other times is when I'm sitting as a commissioner at the CCMA or bargaining council or in other bargaining council for that matter. We receive different matters that I had to deal with personally when I'm sitting as a commissioner. And different practitioners are coming in to present their case, to analyze evidence and make ours. Sometimes we receive instructions where you take matters on review on behalf of other people who were not happy about their disciplinary hearings or matters that are emanating from other bargaining councils. So it's a variety of cases over a long period. And since I'm not alone, my office is dealing with matters of different nature based on labor law, and I help my candidate attorneys or my PAs as to how to deal with these matters, how to approach the labor court, how to brief counsel for purposes of helping our clients on different labor issues.
Yeah, I'm also interested in this doctorate on the rule of law. What is your understanding there of the rule of law, and how do you think it could be, this study that you're doing, be beneficiary to our country?
I can't hear you well, Minister, sorry.
I'm saying I'm also interested in the doctrine that you referred to, the topic you are dealing with,
Yes.
on the rule of law.
Yeah.
It has been a recurring question for most of the candidates here. So what is your understanding of that, of the rule of law, and how do you think this study that you are doing could be beneficial to our country?
Oh, thank you, Minister. The rule of law, it helps me to make our clients to understand what is required in terms of the respect of the law, and possibly if there's a need to challenge particular violation of human rights law, we are able to help and give advice and write opinions for that matter. And also training of my candidate attorneys to understand the nature of law, that you can be in a position to read and understand the Constitution and how is it applied, and the constitutional practice, how is it being done, enforcement of the law in different fields, how can it be done? Because my interest is when I started LLM doing human rights and constitutional practice, it made me to continue to finalize my studies in law, to register for the LLD as part of the law that I chose as my, I'll call it my specialty or area of interest for the purposes of practicing law as a whole. And Constitution as the main law in South Africa makes us to understand all the fields and how to practice it and to give advice where it's necessary.
Thank you, CJ, and thank you, Mr. Ngwa.
Chief Justice, could I follow up, please?
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Is that Advocate Madonzel?
No, it's JP Mlambo.
Oh, yes, JP, please follow up. Sir.
Thank you, Chief Justice. Mr. Nkosi, good evening.
Good evening, JP.
I'm just following up on the questions the JP asked you about your exposure in labor matters.
Yes.
You list in paragraph, I think 9.3 of your questionnaire that you've said in civil trials, criminal trials, motion court, and whatever. The JP pointed out to you that they've looked everywhere, they can't find any judgment that you've written in the labor court, yet you acted there. Are there such judgments?
Well, JP, I do have judgments as to whether they were not kept in a place where they could be found from the archive of the labor law. I'm not sure. I could not have any control after we passed judgment during that period between 2011 and
Yeah,
2012.
but you are asked to list cases that you think are important in the questionnaire. And since you are applying for the labor court, I would have expected you to write what those cases are and attach some of them, because that's what we've seen in these interviews. Candidates do that. Is there any reason you didn't do that?
Well, JP, it might have been an omission, mistaken omission, not to take them one by one and to put it there as an indication of these are labor matters. These are different matters on different laws of the country. But I spent time and I finalized those judgments, and they were not even taken on review or appeal.
Okay. Thank you very much, Chief Justice.
Thank you, Judge. President, Professor.
So sorry, follow up, CJ.
Okay, sir, please proceed.
Thank you. Are you able to give an estimate number as to how many of those judgments you did at the Labour Court?
In the Labour Court.
Yes.
There are not more than 5, if I may estimate now, because I've got so many judgments that I put them together as a part of the work that I've done from different court divisions.
Thank you, CJ.
Thank you very much, sir. Prof, over to you.
Thank you, CJ. I think I'm covered by the JP's questions. The second JP.
Thank you very much. Honorable Moima.
Thank you, Chief Justice. Good evening, Mr. Nkosi. This side of the this side of the.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nkosi. I just want to get your view in terms of the importance of the right to collective bargaining as an area that is beginning to generate a lot of interest, particularly given the. I'm saying that I want to get a sense in terms of your appreciation of the importance of the right to collective bargaining, its purpose, given the current impasse between the unions and government. But I don't want you to get into the specifics because it's a matter that is currently running, but much more at a theoretical level. Do you think it has a negative impact in terms of the strides that we have made in terms of protecting the workers' rights? Thank you, Chief Justice. Thank you, Mr. Nkosi.
Thank you, sir. If I understand you correctly, you are asking me about the rights of bargaining.
Collective bargaining.
Collective bargaining. Yes. Well, it's a broad question, of course, because collective bargaining help us to have at least industrial peace, because you'll remember in the past, the labor relations was not as it is actively seen happening right now after 1994. So many people are now unionized, and the unions are based on sectors. So they help people to understand their rights and their obligations in terms of labor relations, and to make sure that there's industrial peace. It's all about collective bargaining, understanding each other, the needs and the obligations, so that there can be more economic growth on an industrial place which is peaceful all the time.
The second question, now where there is a sense that one of the parties is disengaging from the collective agreement, do you think it augurs well for the right of collective bargaining?
The Labor Relations Act, as is, help us and many people to understand what is it that needs to be agreed upon, negotiated, the changing of rights where there's a need, and amendment of new legislation about Labor Relations Act, and it's continuing its jurisprudence in process. It's not something that is as an event that it has happened, it will stop there. Hence, we're talking about bargaining. Each time there's a new issue that needs to be arranged, bargaining will be the best tool for people to understand each other and to allow people to have a right to approach the employers so that they can talk about things that needs to be changed or those that need to be cancelled. So things are getting better in South Africa with the new constitution and the Labor Relations Act as is today.
Thank you, Chief Justice. Thank you, Mr. Nkosi.
Thank you, Honorable Moimang. Thank you, Mr. Nkosi. You are excused, sir.
Thank you very much, CJ.